And our three speakers that are Carlo Piano, lawyer at Array, Alberto Pianon, partner at Array, and Henrik Sandklef, I hope to have pronounced it more or less correctly, Software Compliance Academy and Sandklef GNU Labs consultant. So thank you for being here with us at FSSCon 2025, and the stage is yours.
Okay, we're switching gear. We are coming from the high things for many international politics to the nitty-gritty of open source. You know open source, of course. Open source is made of two things, code and licenses. If you go to the open source definition, you have 95% dedicated to licenses and 5% to code. Of course, this just tells the complication that licenses bring. Of course, licenses are based on copyright, and they are based on conditions. So you have the copyright permission if you comply with conditions. For one package, it's pretty easy, especially if the license is simple or even complex, but it's one package. Go figure if you have 50,000 packages. That becomes a little bit more complicated to comply with all of them, including finding out whether there are licenses which are incompatible, because the conditions are reciprocally incompatible, like the derivative must be GPL, or the derivative must be CPL. That is going to be a mess. So you need something that calculates, that translates the licensing conditions, which is human, so to speak, because they are legal text most of the time, so barely human, into something that computers can calculate and feed into them. So this is mostly, and you need tools that consume this way of using. And this is what we're doing, basically. So I hand the floor to Henrik, that will tell you more.
I'll do it from here. The problem is that my eyes are so bad, so I can not see that without glasses, and I cannot see it with glasses, but I'll do my best. Can you go forward? Yeah. Okay, we're already there. So the idea behind this project is three parts. We need to create resources where we... Is it better? Okay. Create resources where we look into licenses and try to classify them in a new, fresh way. We need to identify use scenarios. Everyone who's been working with compliance for a while is, you have gotten the question, is a GPL compatible with Apache? And then every one of us say, it depends on how you use it, how you provide it, do you modify it? Modification not in this specific case. So we need to look in and start identifying proper use cases. Another thing is we need tools that use the license resources and knows about the scenarios and can take decisions on that. And then it would be good, in fact it's almost working, if we can take an SPDX, perfect, because SPDX has these relationships, and we can use them as some kind of use scenarios. Cyclone DX has a smaller, I wouldn't say similar, no one from SPDX and no one from Cyclone here, okay. It can be used in the same way. So this is the overall project. And the focus on this thing here today is the resources, the license resources. So I'll hand it over.
So the basic idea behind this project is that we would like to create a tool, essentially, that takes as input an SBOM in SPDX on Cyclone DX format, parses component licenses and relationships. You know that, for example, SPDX has a long list of possible relationships. You can state about couples of components. Component A is a linked binary of to component B, or is dependent on, or is a library of component B. We take all this information and we translate that into which permission do I need to have this kind of component relationship? So we translate component relationships into required license permissions. We look into the licenses, we check whether those permissions are granted, because otherwise we cannot do that kind of combination. And also we cross-check the conditions of the different permissions that we have from different licenses in order to see if they are compatible or not. Because we need permissions, permissions have conditions. So first we need to check permissions. Can we have permission? Does the license grants this permission? And second point, we need to check whether we can fulfill the conditions to have those permissions and whether we can fulfill all the applicable conditions at the same time. When we perform those two checks, we can create a checklist of conditions that you have to fulfill to have the permissions that you need to have that combination of components. And as an optional or nice to have output, we could also provide a list of outbound license options. When the outbound license is not defined yet, you still have to find which license you want to distribute your project under. Then you can use this tool to get a list of options. So I don't know, the only option turns out to be AGPL, or you can choose between GPL or AGPL, or you can also license under a proprietary license. Of course, law is not math, so we are trying to translate licenses into code, into a formal language, but there are a lot of gray areas. Lawyers always say it depends. Our goal is to provide a tentative calculation, and then based on that, you can have a human review to spot false positives and false negatives. But why do we need this? Because doing everything manually is too much. Because if you have hundreds or thousands of components, you cannot go through all the components, all the licenses, and say this is compatible with this or not. We need a tool that does a first work, and then we can review the tool calculation in order to validate it. How it may look like, we are trying to define a syntax. And basically, the idea is to represent a license as a set of permissions. And each permission has a different set of conditions. The trickiest one is the one that says or states some requirements for the outbound license. So our idea is to use something like, if you know the Apache 2 web server directives, something like that. So something like, I don't know, GPL, the first one on the left, top left. The first one is simple, so allow GPL2 only and deny all the rest. With the LGPL2 on the right side, it's a little bit more difficult because not only LGPL2 only is allowed as an outbound license, but also GPL2 or later, which translate into GPL2 or GPL3 at the moment, and deny all the other licenses. But this is valid only if you need a specific set of permissions. But if you want another permission, which is distribute a linked executable, which includes the library and the LGPL, we have a different requirement. We allow any license as long as the license has the permission to modify the work for internal use and allow reverse engineering to debug the modification you made. So basically, in this way, we aim at having a full translation of the permissions and conditions provided in all open source licenses into a formal language which can be parsed by a machine to do some calculations and provide the results that I mentioned in the previous slide. So basically, this is it, and I leave the mic to Henrik to explain who is funding all this.
I think NLNet is here. Do we have anyone from NLNet here? No? Okay. So NLNet sponsors us, and we would like to express, you know, or promote you, push you to ask for fundings from NLNet. It's pretty straightforward. They're friendly guys. Yeah, go apply for your software from them. So we would like to thank NLNet. And I think it's time for the last.
Yeah. I guess if you have some questions, this is the time. Or
you really want to see the deep dive internals of the classifications, don't you?
Or you can contribute, because there is a lot of legwork to be done, and of course when we define finally define the syntax and the rules and the protocols, we are going to open this for whomever who is going to contribute. And also, the way we are structuring it, it's not human language, but it's readable by a human being at least. So maybe some of the things that we have put, as someone who say, this is not true because this condition can be compatible with that condition, or this is not true because this is not applicable to this particular scenario, or you forgot that this can be translated, can be converted to another license, and this way you have a pathway to another licensing. So this is the kind of things that we are constantly discussing in discussion groups around open source. Nobody agrees with nobody else, and this is a good beauty of it. And of course, this is open source, so you disagree, you're able and permitted and invited to overcome and make your own decisions. And the protocol is not deciding the compatibility, is not deciding the condition. You are in control, and you can always override, because this is a guidance, this is general wisdom and a way to calculate, but you can always override it. That's it. So, if you have a question, or else we have plenty of time. It's very simple and open to contributions. Thank you.
So first of all, thank you to all of you. That's the link.
That's the project.
Follow.
It's already public. So of course, there is a lot of things which are not public yet, but as soon as we approve them, it's going to be completely public and open.
There's a question, I think, just there behind.
Lucas.
Okay, I have to bring one microphone. Okay, yeah. Here I am. Thank you.
So thanks a lot. So as far as I understand, the tool is a protocol for put this together, the decision tree, and but you are not providing an authoritative source of what is compatible or not. Can you explain a little bit on this? Carlo, you already explained your last contribution. Was really interested, but I just wanted to have a little bit more. Thanks.
Okay, we went through this in the initial analysis. We tried to figure out if it was possible to create a calculator of license incompatibilities based on comparison between permissions and conditions. But it's too difficult because there are a lot of gray areas. There are a lot of different views. For instance, we started with the most classical case, Apache 2.0 versus GPL 2, and the Free Software Foundation has a view. The Apache Foundation has a different view, but says we accept the FSF view because they wrote the GPL, so we accept even if we don't share that. So we cannot go through all this because at best we will achieve a result that maybe some will agree with that result, some other will not. So we just provide a way to express license compatibility. Then if you don't share that view, you just change the line and that's it.
Since this is a a machine readable thing, it's going to be quite easy to calculate because it's basically a long list and you have conditions that can match the various. It's not trivial, but it's as soon as you have the way to express in a machine readable and using SPDX and using this language, this should be not easy but doable. It's a quite simple computer. I'm not a computer scientist, so I say it must be simple because I am totally unable to do that.